Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. David Moyes has just given his pre-match press conference ahead of Everton's final game at Goodison Park on a Saturday at 3 o'clock. The penultimate game at Goodison Park, of course. What did you make of it? Didn't seem to mince his words.
No, he didn't. Well, I've said this, but just before I start, I do want to just say something dead serious.
Okay, yeah.
I got a message last night off Phil Turner, who sits just in front of me, one seat over. And the last home game, he introduced me to his son, Richard, and he's saying how much he loved Toffee TV. Well, Phil messaged me last night to say that his son had passed away this week, and I literally only met him at the City game. So yeah, just sending obviously all our condolences and love to Phil and his family at this awful time, and hopefully he can get something on the screen or whatever for this game or the last game or whatever. But I just wanted to mention that before we start joking about or whatever. But when you hear stuff like that, a guy who I was introduced to at the last home game. So yeah, just sending all our love to Phil and all the Turner family and all his friends and everything at this really sad time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't feel as important. This press conference.
No.
Yeah, go on.
I thought Moyes did what he has been doing recently, which is he doesn't actually care too much about any of these players, and he's happy to throw them under the bus because it's not like a time of the year where you need to make sure you've got your players and you got to keep the spirits high and the motivation high and stuff. Yeah. And I think it's just a case of, like, when he was asked about the set pieces, and he didn't mince his words. He didn't just said the delivery's rubbish, and that's something that I'm sure he'll be looking at as well as everything else. So, and I thought his comments about Dominic Calvert-Lewin were quite sort of. I didn't think there was like that much positivity in them either. I thought they were like, we'll see what happens. There's not been a contract on the table since I've been here, so. Maybe just bringing everything down a little bit too. I wouldn't be getting too excited, and it's up to him to prove to us. And there's not really we can do, other than not playing when he's injured or playing when he's not fit, and he's clearly not match fit yet. So,
what do you think? Do you just think this is simply Dominic Calvert-Lewin's advisors then saying, let's start putting out the possibility that you might want to stay and flip the pressure back on the club?
I think that what they've said is, I just think that they've clearly let it known to the right people that Dom is willing to stay at Everton. If Everton have got a contract that, I don't know what contract it would be if I'm perfectly honest, but it does seem like, whereas for the last 12 months or maybe a little bit less than that, we haven't heard anything from Dom's representatives. So therefore, this is what tends to happen.
Yeah, it's just changed them as well.
This is what tends to happen. Yeah, and that might be a reason why he's changed it. This is what tends to happen is when a player is leaving, they won't ever come out and go, I'm leaving. They won't. They'll just keep radio silence till it's done, and then first press conference they have with the new club, they'll go, just want to thank, or they'll put something out after they've left. There's no point burning your bridges if you're still at a football club. Dom, by the very nature of just not signing a contract, and obviously the links to Newcastle in the summer, for a lot of people has burnt those bridges, and obviously the injury hasn't helped and is probably meant for a lot of people out of sight, out of mind. You're not playing, therefore we don't feel the pain of losing you if you're not playing. So now it'll become a distraction for maybe some people of where he is. He's turned up, has he? But he has changed his representative, and maybe his tone has softened. I don't know where the quotes come from today.
Someone said The Athletic, but it was on the BBC. And then when the Echo reported it, they said speaking to the BBC.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know
where those quotes have come from and who he's talking to, but obviously he softened his tone and said, he believes the club is going in a different direction. I think, as I've said, I think you got to look at it both ways. I've never had this. I try not, when a player's leaving, even if they're leaving for free, I just think that's the way football is. You can get your James Tarkowski's because he does the same thing to his club. No one's ever gone, oh, isn't it a disgrace he left Burnley for nothing? It works for you and it works against you. Everton had opportunities maybe to sell Dom.
Yeah.
Didn't take them. And this is what sometimes happens in football. So if Dom still leaves for nothing, I won't be, for me, it'll just be one of those things. It's football, you move on. And if he stays, then he stays under the conditions that are best for Everton Football Club. And I think that's always got to be the thing in any deal. Whether you're selling somebody, whether you're buying somebody, whether you're giving them a new contract, it's got to be the best for the football club. And that's all that matters. So if Decore signs a new contract, if he signs a new contract, the contract's got to be at the lowest possible wage that Everton can get to him. And he fully knows that he is not going to be a first team player. He's part of a squad and has to fight for his place. And it's the same with Dom. And it's the same with basically anyone bar Jared Branthwaite, Jordan Pickford.
That's it.
And that's it. Because even someone like Njaya would go, yeah, if you get a new contract at Everton, we're not gonna be silly about this. We're gonna match and give you an offer that we think is worth what you've done for us so far. And it should be the same with the Gisagana Gay. It has to be it's got to be enough to entice him. But in a club like Everton Football Club, if they want to move forward, have to be prepared to lose a Gisagana Gay at this stage of his career. They have to, and they have to be ready to move on from a Gisagana Gay. We all want to keep him, but at the same point, you've got to be prepared. You've got to be ready, haven't you, for that? If he doesn't sign, it's the same way that no one's crying that Michael Keane's walking out the door for nothing. It's got to be, you'll get one that you're happy to lose and one that you want to stay, but it's got to work both ways.
I thought the Piv made a really good point yesterday when he was talking about Milenkovic with Moyes. And the reason why was that he said, if David Moyes decides to keep Abdoulaye Doucouré or decides to keep Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it's because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's proved that he's got the fight for Everton. He's proved he wants to be here. For anyone who didn't hear it, it was basically West Ham had agreed to sign Milenkovic, and David Moyes spoke to him on the phone, and Milenkovic sort of let it be known that he wanted to go to a Champions League club, and they weren't there, so he was happy to go to West Ham to get to a Champions League club.
And I think sometimes those conversations happen between agent and director of football. Like a director of football might have said to Onana, his agent, listen, this is the perfect place for him to come and spend the next part of his career. And, if Everton do well, then we'll help him get to where he needs to be. But if Everton don't do well, then it's a great place to step off to another Premier League team. And those conversations will be hard. You wouldn't ever want those conversations between the manager and the player, because that comes off the wrong way. And we all know now in football, that's what a lot of it comes down to. Sadly, we're seen as a stepping stone club, in some ways you'd like to see as a stepping stone. That's what might convince, say, a Liam Delap, which I find it incredible that nobody asked a question about Liam Delap in the press conference. Not one person said, what are the qualities of Liam Delap that make him such a highly prized asset?
We're playing them tomorrow.
Exactly. Like what? Like not like will you try and sign him? It's what makes him such a desirable asset.
But I can't believe no one even asked to talk about another striker though, Ped, not just Delap. Say you've been heavily linked with Liam Delap this week, and you could have even worded it going, don't really expect you to comment on that, but are you?
Why wouldn't you?
No, what I'm saying,
we in this country, we are so. We've just had a couple of Americans in the room just having a chat for the last hour, who are PR guys, and the sport New York teams, and they were talking about questions, and they're just like, the questions are so, number one, they're so basic, so they don't get an answer that is that you get a good answer from, and also they're like, it's almost like saying, oh, I know you're not allowed to answer that. And last week in the press conference they asked them about bloody Salah signing a new contract. So it's like when Sky asked them to ask a question about like something stupid like Salah or who's going to win the boxing this week or what's your favourite cheese, they'll go all in. But when no one will ever ask a tough question. No one will ever say, you've been linked with Liam Delap, would you like him? And if he goes, well, he's their player, you go, all right, but what are the qualities that you see in him that he's been linked with loads of top clubs? And if he dodges that question, he dodges that question, but he might answer or you ask that first, and then you ask the question about...
But I would then also follow it up with, so is that an area you're looking to bring in another centre forward? I'd be asking it.
But why is everyone?
Because we should be asking it. Because then everyone knows. Listen, there's a story this morning that says Everton are going to sell Beto, basically. So there's 3 Italian clubs, one of them. The price, they know what Everton value him at, which is around 20 million quid or whatever, which have covered, might be a bit more, but that's what they're saying. So therefore, Everton, it seems, it could be nonsense, of course, but given he nearly went in January and the manager doesn't look overly sold on him, then Everton could sell him. So if that's happening, he hasn't gone all in on Calvert-Lewin, so therefore, then Calvert-Lewin, Chimitti's a young striker.
But did anyone even ask him?
No one even.
Did anyone ask him, do you want to sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Did anyone ask him that question, like straight off the bat? Do you want to keep Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
I can't. Well, I wouldn't know, Pet, because it kept breaking.
Yeah, it kept breaking up.
So we don't.
There was a fire alarm and all that.
No,
but what about the straightforward question where Dominic Calvert-Lewin has expressed this morning in a piece that
he might be willing
to stay. Do you want Dominic Calvert-Lewin to stay at Everton Football Club? Get a yes and a no question. I do find that, unfortunately, the media in this country, bar the very top ones, have become that the power of the football clubs mean that the journalists don't turn up and ask questions that really they should be. That you're going to get the kind of answers that are going to mean that the fan bases, and listen, David Moyes has always been a tricky character, always
brilliant at them,
and he's always upset people. He seems a little bit more chilled out now. But I do find it strange that it takes a lad who works for Liverpool World to ask the questions that you want to ask, because
Will's brilliant.
Will Rooney's an aspiring journalist who's down here at the moment and wants to be up there, and I do find he's the only one who asks really difficult questions. I also find people ask questions that are quite leading as well. Like, I've almost put all the subtext in.
Of course. Well, Everton do that after the game.
It's like
Everton will say after the game, like when they've lost, "Oh, you were really unlucky today, David, weren't you? Was it just the fact that you just couldn't do this?" Which makes the manager's job that easy to go, "Yeah, it was that."
Here's a question for the manager. You've now got 4 centre forwards available to you. Who do you think is the one that's most likely to miss out, and why? That's, a question like that.
But I wanted them to say, "Yeah, we're after another striker."
Yeah,
that's what I want to know. I want to know.
Yeah.
Because then it makes me feel happy. I think that would also calm a lot of the fan base.
Or you could say, you've got 4 strikers available this weekend. Are any of them likely to be here next season? Or are any of them likely to be the starting centre forward next season?
Or in your future plans, whatever, yeah.
I just, yeah.
I think, but not just Everton. No, I think a lot.
No, it's the media in general, because football clubs have got too much
power over the media.
They've got too much power over the media, where they can go, "You're not getting a midweek interview with one of our players." It's all wrong. It's completely wrong how the media works in this country. Sorry, how the football clubs work in this country, and how they
gone too far.
I've said this. We've said this a million times. The media literally pays for football in this country, and yet the people in media are treated with so much disdain because they dare to ask. I said we've just had 2 Americans who were like, "You can ask anything you want," and in fact, he said when there's a game, if you've done badly, the first person who'll get pushed out is the person who's made the mistake. As in, like, you fucked up today.
Don't do. Well, was it Sam who was saying, like, the managers have to go or the head coach or whatever have to go and do like fan podcast stuff, and they're asked questions that they don't like, and but no questions off limits. So you go, and he was just giving an example, going with the
problem is
if the pitch is being replaced, they say to the manager, "Why have you replaced it?"
The problem is the football clubs have got too much power, and the people who work at football clubs are so shit scared of the manager getting a question that he doesn't want to answer, and then he looks to the left, whereas any question should be answered. And there's nothing.
This comes back though to,
if a manager has to answer, what do you think about Salah signing a new contract? He asked an answer because the guy from Sky Sports asked them, who are the biggest, put the most amount of money into this football club. Then no question should be off the table. No question.
But the problem is, we've seen it, like things like Man City, where Pep will just walk out, or Arteta. Arteta the other week, someone's asked him a question about, like, do you think that's why you should have bought a striker to win the league? He just got up and walked out.
That shouldn't be able to happen.
What are you doing?
That shouldn't be able to.
Those media people are in tight because you're speaking to the fans. Why are you getting up, Mikel, and walking out because you didn't like
that
the
scene
question?
I always think back to, because I always think back to Money. Everything goes back to Moneyball. Is that scene in Moneyball where the woman is asking him and she goes, "Get out my shot," and then she asked the fella, I think it was David Justice, and she asked him the question. And he gives her like one day at a time, and she goes, "No, I asked you this question," and makes him. And that's how you think like American media works in types of sports and stuff like that. And in this country, it literally is.
Well, that's because of the part.
No,
I don't believe the people.
No, I'm not having a go with the people. I'm having a go with the football club.
Yeah. I'm having a go with football.
I'm having a go with football clubs in this country and what they're allowed to get away with because of the way it works and because people go, "Why aren't you?" Because we're not allowed to take. Because in this country, the media and how the media works is actually works against people in new media, because you have to cover more than one club and you have to tick this box and that box. It's a nonsense. And you get press conferences where if you can actually watch them, which is another joke. If I'm going in all in, I might as well go all in. Everton, your press conferences are a disgrace. Like literally a disgrace.
Sort them out, come on.
They are a disgrace. I'm sorry. We put lives on every single day in this office and we barely ever get a problem.
But other people are saying, James Graham, the worst press conference ever, Bob says that press conference was embarrassing. Friedkin should, and all that. And it is, they've got to get that right. But it is a bigger problem than that, not just the delivery of it. Yeah, absolutely. We shouldn't have to refresh. If the fire alarm caused an issue, just say, we have to wait 20 minutes till we get everything back up. That's the way it is, right? Couldn't foresee a fire alarm, could they? Of course they couldn't.
No, but just
the whole thing is.
Why is it buffering? Why is a press conference buffering?
But I'm just going back to the whole football being the thing, is that everything in this country just needs redoing.
No, it does.
Because we're in a different age.
It all needs redoing for the age that we're in now. And I'm sorry if that upsets a few people who work in the football world, then it's up to you. If you work at one of these football clubs to sort yourself out. But this idea that it should all be journalists who work for major TV companies, I
don't think the major TV companies get the things.
It's embarrassing, as Michael had said. The whole thing.
But then he's embarrassing for getting up more.
It's all but he shouldn't have the power to do that. He shouldn't have the power to do that. You see it in other countries. It's like, answer my question.
No, it is. It's the whole thing. You're a professional, paid a lot of money. Which managers are paid a hell of a lot of money for being managers of football teams. What question? Why can't you answer a question? Why? You are paid, Arteta's on whatever it is, £6, 7, 8, 9 million pound a year. You not articulate enough to answer, and he's very articulate. It's nonsense.
The whole thing is it's nonsense. It's so incestuous the way it works.
It does need rethinking. Nathan, who's a YouTube member, said, "I love the way Moyes didn't mince his words. He called out trash set pieces, told us players have to keep a standard or prove themselves, talked positively yet sternly about Dominic Calvert-Lewin." I loved it.
Yeah, it was good. So, and that's it. He'll give you an answer if you really give him a question to answer. A
lot of people offering the condolences to Phil and his family, of course, which is terrible. The news, quite a few people questioning the Dominic Calvert-Lewin's a prolific striker. A lot seem to
not think he's prolific.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I'd agree that he's not prolific.
He's not prolific. He's a good player. Not prolific.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin's part of like 3 strikers, but they can all be interchanged.
Horses for courses.
Then there's no problem. Then
horses for courses.
Because on his day, he can be unplayable. Great in the air if you put proper balls into him, get people around him. He's a good squad player. He's a good player to have in your squad. I want another one. I want one who I think he can actually lead that. He's our proper striker. Dom can battle at the end. I've no issue with Dom getting in the head of this person, but it's like they're really battling for it.
Villa have got it now, haven't they? They've got 2 players who are a similar sort of spec, and that's why he brought him in. He brought Rashford in to challenge
Watkins. Tirana gone out.
And they, you know, and they're battling with each other. And one's not. There's this idea that like football players need to be like, you have to put an arm around them and they have to be happy all the time. It's like, mate, if you can't get in our team, that's your fault. That's on you. That means you have to battle harder in training. This, like, because they're all superstars and because we're all desperate to not lose them, there's this idea that you have to keep people happy no matter what, and you have to play them no matter what. And it's like, if you're not playing well, you don't play. And if someone else is in there and he's up to your level, then he plays. But it all, as Moyes said in the press conference, you want 15 players, 16 players every game.
Who you can rely on.
And if that means that if Njai has a couple of like games where he's not doing it, well then you go, you come and sit here, mate, and you might be an impact sub. Show me from the bench that what you've got, you know. And that's got to be. Don't get me wrong. The problem with Everton squad is that one player's there and then the next player's there, and that's been the problem. Yeah. And the manager has to trust that those players are equal billing. But the best teams have to have 2 players for every position. Some teams now have 3 players for every position, or 2 players and a few like floaters. So that they are challenging each other every day in training. That mentality of, I'm keeping my place or I'm taking your place. And we've just not had enough of that at our club, because one player might be there. And that there, by the way, isn't even like the top level, which is there. But your next player's there. Got to have that, haven't you? And if Dom signs a contract and he's there, then what you're saying is Everton is, right, we've got to buy that guy then. That's it. We've got to buy that guy. Dom isn't going to be our number 1 striker next season. He's just one of our strikers, and the next one's going to be so much better. Otherwise, you're looking for players that are going to be the top one, and the problem with that is that he has to play every game, and he can't play every game. They're going to get injured. They're going to get suspensions.
They're going to be out of form.
They're going to go through rough patches.
You can't do it.
You've got to have players.
You can't do it. Carl Brien says the streamer's pants. It was like watching an old kung fu movie with delayed lip syncing. Jackie Moyes.
Yeah, it stopped towards the end, didn't it? Wasn't it just a fixed picture? And
it was just the audio, wasn't it? Mark 1878, a YouTube member, says some interesting comments today on here from Ped on this day. These press conferences are really important for the club. It's the main way Mr. Manager communicates with the fan base. It is, and that's why the questions have to be get more out of them, aren't they? Said this before. I said this to Frank Lampard when he interviewed him. It's that people have forgotten managers, and this is one thing that done my head in about Sean Dyche, to be honest. He just disregarded the fact that when you sit in that press room, it doesn't matter what someone asked you from Premier League Productions or whoever, because they're not asking for themselves, are they? They're asking on behalf of Evertonians, or they should be, and it's your opportunity as the manager to get your message out to the fan base.
Especially in an era when...
We want to know.
Especially in an era when if we were there, we could literally just sit on our phones or go through the comments and just find what's the most trending question or thing is. Right now, we could do that. We could walk into a press conference and ask that question. And I imagine all those journalists do that. Journalists and media companies will be sifting through fans' comments, fans' interactions, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, looking for those questions to ask the manager. They want to know what, and that would be the first thing you'd ask them, isn't it? And that's like, so today, the first question is about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's representatives have probably set that narrative and have set the tongues wagging amongst the fans of saying, are we staying? Gauging it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's representative might have fed that to someone to find out what the fans think of him, first of all. And if 90% of Everton fans, they look at go, we don't want this guy at our club anymore, Dom's representative might say, there's no point doing this. Even if you sign a contract, these don't want you here. And that might hurt your value in terms of like the other side of things, put kit launches and all that. No one wants to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin in an Everton kit or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's how it works now. So yeah, ask questions that people actually want to hear. and a big part of it.
What have you made of Everton being linked with John Stones today? Leaving Manchester City.
Is he leaving?
That's what the story says. He's out of contract. He's not. That's
Right.
one thing.
Okay, I'm going to answer that question after I say this. Kevin De Bruyne cannot be allowed to sign for Chicago Fire. Right? It's got to be stopped. You've got to get to the airport and stop it.
Only if he comes to Everton. I don't want him to go to another Premier League team. Just come to Everton. If not, go to Chicago Fire.
They're not even good. They're not even a good team.
They will be with Kev.
No, they won't. Take a lot more than that. If Shaqiri couldn't get them going.
Oh, yeah. Well, his hips did like.
John Stones, injury problems again, though, innit? Loads of injuries. He
hasn't played many games.
After that Champions League final, I thought, this is it. You're finally going to get to play in your position. When Rodri got injured, I'm thinking, you're finally going to get to play in your position.
Stay fit.
And he can't stay fit. So
good footballer.
It's a lovely notion of John coming back and all that, but you know, I don't even think he's got the ability to run across a service station car park anymore.
Well, you'd have to try it.
You know, he's got that.
You'd have to try it. SP 1988 says the press are very happy to throw overt barbs at world leaders, but scared to ask simple footballing questions.
Yeah.
Carl says looks like Charlie Adams going. Moyes admitting the set pieces are being terrible. Moyes did also, when asked why, said the delivery, which is what I said. The delivery is just terrible.
It's a lot easier to throw players under the bus, though, to a fella you brought into the club.
If you can't cross a ball and you're a Premier League football, it's worrying. James Graham says the football media are like the political media, you know.
Yeah, they're all scared to lose their jobs because the people they're asking questions to have got all the power, and that just shouldn't be allowed. Should not be allowed. And the fact that I say that probably stops me from getting in one of those rooms. That's the point, though, isn't it? Me saying that and having an actual opinion on that stops me from getting in that room, because there'll be a fella now sitting here going, well, he said that, didn't he? So he's not coming in. That's the problem, because I'll have just upset someone by saying that, and that person I've just upset does the list, and that's the reality of the world. That's the reality of the world.
Voltage. I mean, I didn't realise Rob Cross is watching, but I do like that. I mean, you should have done a bit better last night, Rob. Come on, lad. It says you've probably been answered this question several times, but why can't one of you lads go to the Everton press conference? Because we're not accredited, and the way accreditation's done, it's done from the 1960s. No, it is. If you write for a paper, you can go to them when newspapers are dead. It's bonkers, really. But even that's just the way it is.
Even
if you cover one team, you can't go.
If you put our numbers up against half of the people who are in that room, our numbers would win.
They'd win against.
They'd win against everybody but
Sky.
Premier League
and Sky.
Productions and Sky. They'd win against everybody else. Everybody else did win. Our numbers, how many people have watched us or listened to us, are bigger than anyone else in that room, bar Sky and the Premier League.
But the way the media is, it's just you're not allowed to. Daniel Barton says I'd only take Stones if he can stay fit and play centre mid for us.
Yeah.
No, well, that's the thing, isn't it? He's a good player. Man City would keep him if he was fit, wouldn't he? But obviously, they probably looked and gone, just can't stay fit. And we've had this season. We've had this season where he's not, being available. And
it'd be a lovely sort of like Gareth Barry style signing, but Gareth Barry was fit.
Played every week.
John Stones isn't fit, and he needs maybe. And nice move to Italy to suit John Stones.
Maybe, yeah. Well, yeah, he's been able to stay fit, hasn't he?
Is it not a good look that Everton are linked with Richarlison and John Stones coming back?
They're easy links, though, aren't they? They're easy links. And Everton will be getting offered those players. Let's get it right. Everton will be getting offered. Will be asked in the conversation, won't they? There's money. They're all players. People still hold the candle, certainly for Richarlison, maybe less John Stones. But people, Everton and Evertonians, and we're all the same. We love going back. We love the idea of someone coming back to us who's gone away. And to be honest, it happens in loads of countries, doesn't it? Where the prodigal son leaves and then goes and then comes back at the end of his career, and it's the full circle moment. But
He's not fit though.
they're not
is he?
fit. They're not fit.
He's a good player. He's still a great player.
But he's not fit.
But if he's not fit, we can't. I mean, someone just said there I'd take him as the 4th choice centre back, but John Stones wouldn't come to Everton as the 4th choice centre back, would he? And how much money?
He's on 250 grand a week.
Yeah, well, no one's giving him that, Hardy. Even though he's free, no one's giving him that money. But you can't give a big pot of money to someone you can't guarantee they're gonna play for you. Everton can't anyway. We've been burnt, haven't we? We've been burnt so many times.
And he's old.
He's 30.
We've got to turn this squad round to a younger squad, haven't we? We've got to turn this squad into a younger squad.
Good player.
Yeah, great player.
And if you've got a ton of money and you're looking for that little one, you know, little really experienced signing to come in and sit off and you're not relying on him, then he might be great. But I don't. We certainly aren't in that boat, are we? Let's be honest.
Everton should be looking for the next John Stones.
That's it. That's
going back to the, you know, finding someone who's the next big thing, and finding that and going through with that.
Nick says it really is a joke how they keep messing up the press conference. How can it be so hard when you guys do it 6 times a week? Yeah, it is a bit mad. Where are we? Let's go. I know there's a lot of people saying the same. Ben says, all right, lads, given the push in the 1878 to wear blue tomorrow,
yeah.
Do you not think Everton could have helped out, benefited from it, and made a load of blue t-shirts with an Everton badge on sale for a £5 or a £10?
See, that'd be like, no, but it wouldn't be a £5, would it be £90? Like everything else?
No, but could they have done it? It'd be a £10, £5, but could they have done something? Well, it's whether or not people would have bought them, though, isn't it? You can.
No, but I said this about Retro Day. It's like if you're doing something, and I don't even know if Everton have pushed this notion of wearing blue tomorrow, which they should, because they've done a video today with Seamus.
They probably have.
So they should be, but it should be like, if you're going to, again, classic Everton. If I'm going in today.
No, don't go in.
I'll go in, don't worry.
Next week you'll be moaning, don't.
No, I don't moan. I don't know where you get this idea that I care. What happens with this football club. I don't know where you get this idea. I'm not asked. Right. Retro Day. Everton went half in. 85 Day. Everton didn't even go half in, did they? If you're going to do a blue day, advertise it. And then say there's a big sale in the shop where you can buy a blue top. This year's home kit, the last ever kit at Goodison Park. Go and get the last one. It's on sale now. On match day, 2 hours before kick-off, we're dropping the price for an hour to 20 quid or 15 quid, whatever it is. Go in there. We've got these new t-shirts. Last game of Goodison t-shirts. Go and buy one now. We're in the shop. They're 15 quid. If you buy one an hour before, 2 hours before kick-off, it's whatever price it is. They could be printing them in the back room, for God's sake. But
just have one with a badge on, couldn't you? But again, I don't know. But yeah, definitely if you can wear blue. I mean, I don't know whether I'll be wearing it, but you know, most people, I should imagine, will have a blue top on, which is good. Gary Ward, my condolences to Phil and his family. Martin Kitney, all our thoughts with Phil and his family. Bainey says, oh my God, heart and sorrow to the Turner family. Bainey also says, read today, Dom stayed under this manager going into a new stadium. Stated today, why wouldn't I sign a contract? I don't know whether he quite said it like that, but I get the sentiment. He did mention the stadium, he mentioned the owners, he mentioned the manager. But I don't know, because David Moyes seems, I mean, Moyes is brilliant at it, but he sort of seemed to play that all down, didn't he? He didn't sort of go, we're hopeful.
Yeah, I think he's putting it back onto the player, isn't he? He's putting it back onto the player. The manager knows what he's doing. He's not giving too much away.
No. Ian says the club won't be held to ransom on player contracts, bin them if they don't want to sign the new contract offer. 2 things, says Jez, our media and Meek now absolute chills for access. Glad you mentioned the stream is breaking. I thought it was my effing broadband again. Jez says there should be someone else fielding odd questions at the club level. It's so sad, all this basic stuff. Mark says months of bad press conferences have built up this Friday anger, and I'm all for it.
It's just embarrassing. That's all it is. It's just embarrassing.
Mark also says Everton have advertised for a new first team physio today.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because it's been confirmed this morning, hasn't it? That Dan Purdy's leaving this week or next week, I think.
But he's not physio.
No, but I'm just saying more changes behind the scene and more to come, apparently.
Yeah.
So, Steve P says, for me, if Dom's staying, we need to sign 2 strikers because we need an out-and-out goal scorer, and then if he's the target man, we need someone the polar opposite who's fast and can dribble and capable of playing wide as well. Beto will be sold and Chimiti will go out on loan, in my opinion. Do you think Chimiti will?
Probably, yeah. If we can get the numbers in.
Would you be happy, though, if Chimiti went out and we only had Dom and, I don't know, another striker?
No, I'd like us to have 3.
Got to have 3.
Got to have 3, yeah.
Do you see Everton signing like an additional 2 then? Maybe 1 on a loan?
Maybe. Maybe.
Did you not say, though, Ped, that you didn't want Chimiti to be loaned out?
Did I?
But you said...
I say a lot of things, mate.
You said... for his development and that we shouldn't be buying another player.
Did, but then it depends what's what, doesn't it? When you actually break it down, what did Andy say?
I think you have to
7 games.
You have to play games of football, don't you?
Yeah.
So you have to play games of football, and ultimately playing games of football is all that matters, isn't it? So
yeah.
If he's not going to play here, or he's not going to be, say, like the second choice, which really he shouldn't be the second choice because he doesn't look anywhere near being second choice at a Premier League football club, does he?
Games.
So he needs to play games. Let's be honest.
He's lost a year, hasn't he?
To get to that level.
If we're being honest, he's lost this season. He's lost the whole season of development because he's been injured for most of it.
If you're third choice striker, how many opportunities are you really going to get in the space? And a third choice striker should really be someone who's got a bit of experience, who's past that point, who is more like a Dominic Calvert-Lewin, funny enough, who sort of knows his way around football, knows what he can offer, but knows what he can't offer. We don't know what that with Chimiti do we at this point, and it maybe will benefit from a year on loan.
Yeah, I think he will if he went again. You don't know where they're gone, what the test is, but I think if he went to Holland, say, and played most weeks and got a few goals in and was used to playing 80, 90 minutes, then I think that sets you up nicely for the next pre-season with the team. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe, I don't know about the championship, I don't know. But he needs to, the lad will only learn the game by starting games of football and being available every week. That's whether he can do it. He's got the attributes. He's got the physicality. It's just putting all that together now. He's still not 21 till the middle of this month, I think, or something like that. So, Ian the Blue said, watching last night's Forest Brentford game, Wisher and Bumo have scored more between them than Everton have all season. Would love one of them for next season. Big win that for Brentford last night, wasn't it? Forest.
Well, bad defeat for Forest.
Forest, we've killed them, haven't we? They were on a great run till we beat them.
And everyone beat Spurs, so that's not can't be counted.
No, it doesn't count, does it? Apart from Bodo Glint last night. What about Man U winning 3-0 away?
Maguire's a winger, apparently.
Josh Oldfield said Everton pressers are a disgrace. Is embarrassed.
They are all
I feel
but I'm seeing
sick.
people online going patting themselves on the back that because you can hear the fucking journalists on it. Sometimes I despair at people's standards. I really despair at people's standards. Oh, we got through a press conference where we could hear a couple of people. So fucking what? Honestly, I despair at the standards that people hold for our football club. It's like every press conference should be, the basics should be, it goes from one end to the other without buffering and you can hear people. Is that too much to ask for? We do it every single day, apart from maybe when John has the mic over there, or I do, or we're fiddling with it. Is it too much to ask that you can hear people in a press conference and it doesn't buffer at any point? Like the basic standards that we provide every single day. It blows my mind that people... honest to God, it really does. Benjamin
James says, I'm sick to death of all this Dominic Calvert-Lewin talk. Get him gone. especially for the wages he's demanding. He's had one purple patch in his time here. Also, if the recruitment team can't find the replacements who would want less wages, then they need binning too. He only cost £1 million. He's been good value. He's been brilliant for Everton. Whether he hasn't been amazing, he certainly hasn't been prolific, by the way.
No.
But he's been very, very good. But it's David Moyes will make the decision. Bainey says they should get Trent Krim, the Independent,
They should.
to ask questions.
They should. Obviously, we know from Ted Lasso that there was more depth to him.
There was more
depth to Trent.
So there you go. Eddie says vibes are whack right now.
And I agree with that statement.
It's classic Eddie.
I agree with that statement.
Eddie cuts through.
Which Eddie is it?
Eddie.
Eddie in Texas Eddie. Well, you should be absolutely not watching this and trying to get yourself a RAV4.
Classic Ed. Rap.
Maybe you are watching this in a RAV4.
Could be.
Living the dream.
Could be.
By the American Gulf, of course. Hey guys, I'm just in my RAV4. Going to Chicago.
Toffee man, but spelled with 3 and a 4 in it. Says, for me, there's only 2 players at the club who are worth $100,000 a week. Pickford and Garner. Tarkovsky and Branthwaite not far off.
I think this
everyone else no.
Do you know
chance.
what though? Right, I do think this. It's really hard to know when we're always throwing around numbers, aren't we? When we talk about wages, but it's really hard to know what people deserve because we don't really know what the lowest bar now is. Like I think people still have this idea that people in the Premier League are on like $20,000 a week, when the reality is most people are probably on about 60 minimum.
The average wage is 65, I think.
Yeah.
Remember the story that Dwight McNeil's only on 25,000 a week, the biggest load of nonsense.
So
I've ever heard.
this idea that we go, they probably should be on less than 100, when if 65 is now what the lowest is on. I don't mean, I'm not someone like a kid who's just come into a team. I mean someone who's like a first team regular. I think we get this idea in our head as like, 100,000. I don't think in football, listen, not talking about reality, but talking about Premier League football. But the idea that someone in the Premier League is on like £100,000 and that we might think they're a bang average player, that's just the way it is now. And if you're fighting with somebody else to get one of these players and you're not offering that amount of money, that we might go, that's ludicrous. It's like when I remember when Tarky the talk was 95 and it was like it was a free transfer and people were like, that's absolutely crazy. And it's like, yeah, but if that's what it takes to get you a centre back that basically plays for 3 years straight every game and has a level where it's like a 7 for the most part, it's like that's what it takes now. So I think it's really hard to distinguish what someone should be on if you don't quite understand where the level is now on finances.
Where you get less of that is from players who are abroad, of course. If it's like potential, if there's someone playing in like Austria and it's potential, they're not in anywhere.
No, but how many times
if they're on $10,000 a week and you go, we'll give you 40, they're gonna bite your hand.
But half of the time that doesn't happen though, because half the time the player signs and they go, I can't believe they paid me 10 times what I used to earn. Because that's always the thing, isn't it? They sign and they like suddenly they're on incredible money.
Toffee man says I like NGI, but he's had one good season. He's more around $70,000 a week for me currently.
Yeah, but we've only had him for one season.
I wouldn't be giving him any pay rise. He needs to do it again next season.
He doesn't need a new contract.
Let's be having you says, what's worse, press conferences or our set pieces? Kieran says, don't answer. Kieran says, I like the idea of sending Chimity to the Dutch league like Branthwaite or somewhere like Germany.
Yeah.
That would be good, wouldn't it? To me, it would be good.
Yeah.
John Turnley says, I'd get rid of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jack Harrison, James Garner, Decore, Beto and Patterson. You've got to make sure you replace them, haven't you? Because we need to bring players in, but the budgets will quickly get swallowed up, though, if we're having to buy all of those as well, aren't we? Can't all be done in one window. I believe still, Everton will bring in 8 or 9 players this summer, but they won't bring in 8 or 9 starters, that's for sure. So some of them might be a couple of loans. You might get, again, we spoke yesterday, Tarek Lamptey and Kyle Walker-Peters are both free.
Yeah.
One of them would be really good on a free, so that'd be one thing ticked, wouldn't it? If Calvert-Lewin stayed on reduced wages, whatever, there's another tick, so he still is. So it's one less to do.
Yeah.
Things like that, and then you're bringing in 4 or 5 first teamers on, you know, the big say big signings. I'm talking like 30 mil, which are nothing nowadays, but for Everton it'd be big at the moment. Them, and then you piece it together like that. You can bring that 8 or 9 in, but they all can't go on the team because it'd be crazy. So we have got to be careful what we do, but got to be realistic, I guess, as well. David Murphy says, watching Champions League football, seeing players on 30 to 40 grand a week, then I look and see Michael Keane.
I don't believe that's true, though.
Well, Dortmund's wage bill...
I just don't believe that's true.
Dortmund's wage bill for the players is like a fraction to what Everton are on. But that's a fact. You can go and look.
I just
facts.
Don't think... Though,
Bodo Glimt's most expensive
Glimt, yeah, because that's Bodo Glimt. I mean, there's an amazing... They're not... Number one, they're not a Champions League team.
Go and put wage bills in.
That's one example, though, of players who, if they played in the Premier League, would instantly be on.
Well, I'm saying, you can't do it. German clubs and things like that. The wage bill's shrunk.
See, I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why I disagree with it.
But those just a fact.
No.
You can say no and wave your hands. No, they're just facts.
They're not facts, though, and I'll tell you why they're not facts.
Get the wage
just
bills
listen. You're not letting me have my point. The point being is, you couldn't do that in the Premier League, because the reason these clubs are in the Champions League is because one plays in Germany.
I want to change the cameras, as well.
Oh, yeah.
One plays in Germany, so therefore they're competing against other clubs in their country. But that's never going to happen in the Premier League. You can't entice a player to leave Dortmund to come to Everton unless you offer him 3 times what he's on at Dortmund. So it's never going to happen.
What he's saying is right. It's a fact.
But it's a fact on paper in terms of, this is the Premier League. You're never going to get a team in this country. Brentford won't have players on 30 grand a week, will they? Their players will all be on like 50 and 60.
Be 50, yeah.
Bournemouth's players will all be on 50 and 60. That's the point. It's like, sometimes you watch the Champions League or you'll watch Europa League and go, oh my God, we'd batter them. Or look at them, we're better than them. And they're in the Champions League. But the point being is, they come through a country. They come through a different system. Germany is not going to have... Like, the reason why Bayern Munich win the league most years is because their wage bill compared to everyone else is massive, because they're in the Champions League, they're a big club, and they keep on turning over and turning over and turning over. Real Madrid and Barcelona are top 2 in Spain most years for the same reason. And now Atletico Madrid, because of their stadium, have been able to join them, and they're in the Champions League, and everyone else cannot compete. Some countries just have, obviously, a lower wage pool, but because we're in the Premier League, we're already at that disadvantage.
Oh, no.
When everybody else...
Well, what we're saying is, Dave's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong.
There is players in those latter stages of tournaments.
But if we wanted
but we couldn't get...
But if we wanted to buy them, we'd instantly have to offer them 3 times what they're on.
Yeah, but we could get, again... Austria, right, is an emerging league. We're seeing lots of players come out of Austria going into Germany, going into other leagues, and they're doing really well. Them players are on buttons, and you could get them for...
If you were
someone's on 8 grand a week, right, and a Premier League club come and went, we'll give you 30, you're going.
All right,
100%.
Let me ask, how many Austrian players are there in the Premier League?
No, but players in the...
No, but how many Austrian players are in the Premier League?
I'd have to go through it, wouldn't I?
There's none.
Saying.
There's like none.
I think there are Austrian players.
Go on. Name one. Name one. Go on, Baz. Go on. You're a font of knowledge. Name an Austrian player. 4. Who are the 4?
Doesn't actually say, just says.
But there is 4.
I take your point. But their agent is on the phone going, Everton won you. Ask for 100 grand. That's the problem, isn't it?
Get it. Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing. What I'm saying is those players, you can get them. The reason why Everton wouldn't go and get... Like, we got offered Rasmus Højlund. He was playing for Sturm Graz.
How much is Rasmus Højlund on now?
No, listen.
I am.
Listen, because I'm going to explain. We got offered him for 3.8 million, right, and we didn't take it in the January. Carried on and went in the summer for 18 to Atalanta.
Yeah. Right? What would he be on at Atalanta? 25.
25 grand, right? And then, obviously, now at United...
How much he's on now?
No, I know.
But I'm just saying...
My point is...
What do you think he's on now?
He's probably on...
250.
He won't be on that much, but maybe he's on 150, which is crazy, right? What I'm saying is, the reason why
Yeah.
David's point wouldn't translate, which I'm trying to back you up a little bit here.
No, I know.
The reason why it wouldn't translate is because Everton and other clubs, Brentford do it, but Everton and other clubs won't go in when they're in Austria for 8 and 10 grand.
Because
they want them. Onana went from a German club back to France for 11 million, right? He played like 6 games or whatever, but was a lot of subs. And would have been on buttons, right? If Everton would have gone when he was in Germany, we'll pay 11 million. Amadou, you're on 15 grand a week, you'd have got him. But you're right, we can't get them out of Germany.
The ecosystem just doesn't work like that, does it? Because Premier League clubs...
You've got the Premier League tax.
The Premier League clubs know that one of the reasons why all of the talent comes to this country, or what we presume is the talent, is because of the wages. It's because we pay those wages. Yeah. And Premier League clubs are willing to wait for a player to go to another country, like the Bundesliga, like Italy now, and go, or France, and just go, we've seen you, we've even seen you play in the Champions League, and we will cherry pick you. And the minute that play becomes available, the problem is Everton will have to beat another. Look at like Liam, like a player who already plays in the Premier League, Liam Delap. There will be, I would speculate that there'll be 10 Premier League football clubs asking about him in the summer,
of course,
without a problem. Yeah. And so, if you're Everton,
isn't he on 45 grand?
But if you're Everton and Chelsea are going to walk in the room and just go, well, we might even play you, but it's 200,000. Yeah. So have Everton got to immediately match that lad's wages, or can they get him another way? Well, if they're going to get him another way, they're going to have to talk really, really nicely into his ear, aren't they? And tell him they're going to massage his thighs or something. I don't know.
He's got big thighs.
Exactly. But
my issue with him, though, is, again, I've said it before.
But go on.
I've said it before, and this might be a bigger issue.
I think this might be more hateful than anything I've said today.
This is a bigger issue than him, like, trying to fight Tarkovsky. The socks around the ankles as a striker.
I knew it'd be more hateful.
You can't.
I knew it'd be more hateful.
I can't see my centre forward at 1 minute past 3 with socks around his ankles. I can't. I don't want to see that, Ped.
But the problem is, though, right?
Liam, don't do me like that.
Liam Delap,
don't do me like
not
that.
talking about him as an Everton player. I'm just talking about Liam Delap has had a decent season, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, he's had a decent season.
12 goals.
Amazing. Just a decent season. And yet, I reckon half the Premier League will be off after him. And they will have to pay him over £100,000 a week.
Probably,
just to get in the room to negotiate with him. And there's your problem.
You're right,
there are not enough good players to go around. So you have to be really, really clever, like Brentford have and like Brighton have in the past. And we haven't. Or you have to be prepared to say, if you're going to come to Everton, we are going to pay you silly, silly wages. And sadly, until we get to a point where we are so clever that we're getting this fella when he's an embryo in Brazil, then you know it's like I bet you Chelsea, if they've got those 2 lads, haven't they, from Portugal and one's from Brazil, I bet you they're on silly money, even though like 16, 17. You know, because
we gave Kieran Dahl 25 grand a week when he was in the academy, so there you go.
But I do take your point. It's mad watching anyone watch the documentary about Bodo Glint on Copper 90. It's unbelievable. But even there, though, they're a unique set of circumstances. They're a team that plays within the Arctic Circle. They're a team that has a plastic pitch. They're a team, do you know, right? And this is in the documentary.
You're telling me the My FC 25.
Listen, you haven't watched the documentary about the My F. In the documentary, they say that they've not mentioned the word win for 5 years. The word win never gets mentioned by anyone at the football club, including the manager, because he doesn't care about winning. He cares about the quality of the performances. So the word win has not been mentioned for 5 years. Like, as if that's ever going to happen with us. Manager being a puddle on the floor, crying in the shower like Graham Potter.
It won't happen with Arsenal. He went and got the dog and called it Win at the training ground. The dog's called Win. He took it for a walk the other day. Just Win.
It's based off Winifred.
It should literally be a disgrace.
It's just cash, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Liam Delap's currently apparently on £20,000 a week, excluding bonuses at Ipswich. But if he goes, I mean, the first story, Liam Delap's huge wage demands surface.
Yeah.
So Liam Delap wants, if you believe everything that these reports say, he wants 100 grand a week at least.
Yeah. Of course.
Right. Now, I don't know whether that's real or it isn't, but that's out there according to this. So,
but is that, again, I don't know whether £100,000 for a player who's had a season in the Premier League and moves to a club the next level up is that much money. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's that much money for a player who's 22 who's got 10 years of a really good career ahead of him. I don't know whether that's a lot of money to secure him when you are only paying 30 million for him as well. And that's the thing. That's half the problem, is that sometimes it's the Fredo thing, isn't it? Thinking of Fredo still 10p and walking in and going, what? How much are they? You just can't figure out in football what people are worth because there's no scale.
No.
There's no scale.
That's the problem. We've said it for years about the scale, haven't we?
There's no. You're the hot thing this year. Like.
Thank you.
Well, we know we've all saw the overlap. No, but last year it was Ferguson at Brighton, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
People were touting 100 million for him.
Yeah. Now he's been linked with Everton again.
Maidstone, I've heard. No, but people were saying a couple of years ago, 100 million player him, 100 million pound player him. Man United will be all over him. Now, someone had bought him in that moment. Who knows what he would have been worth, and who knows what his career. But unfortunately, he's had a couple of setbacks, and now he can't even get on the pitch for West Ham. And that is literally football. That is,
it can go like that.
You can be gone in a second. You know, what were we paying Gabaman? Do you know what I mean?
Not huge.
We've brought someone in for a moment, and he gets a bad injury, and you've had to write off 5 years of his career.
When I done, just free saying that, when I done the inside the game, and Nick Sadler, he was saying he was at Stoke with Dean Aston. It just made me think back to Dean Aston. Remember, he went to West Ham. He was the next big thing. Unbelievable. We
should have got him.
Well, we should have, yeah. But he went
his
to
career went faster than his hairline.
Correct. He went training with England and done that injury. Never really played again. Never. And he was about 20.
Played against us for Crew, scored in the cup game. We won 2-1. Campbell scored, and it was like we should have got him.
Yeah.
We bought BT.
Went to Norwich, didn't he? Was good at Norwich, and West Ham bought him. And the next minute.
No, but that's it, isn't it?
It can go like
you
that,
can't predict your career, but even injuries or no injuries, people's form can just be 1 minute can be brilliant and the next minute can be absolutely terrible.
It is hard. There should be some sort of scale where you go, well, that's how much you're on, because that's markers to hit. But when you've got likes of Chelsea and Manchester United, you just go, boom, there you go, bang, 300 grand a week, whatever. More
9-year contract.
Probably more like Chelsea right now than United, because they're having to scale it back. But even so, their wages are ridiculous. Then it's so difficult.
Yeah.
If you're in the room, if you're in a room with that and you go, well, yeah, listen, if I'm Liam Delap or my representatives are in the room at Everton and go, he quite likes to come and, he quite likes the look of Everton.
Yeah.
What can you offer him? And you go, well, 75 grand a week. You go, lads, Chelsea have offered him 200 grand a week. And he knows that you're not going to be able to offer that, but he ain't coming here for 75.
Yeah.
He can't. And then Everton have to go, but if you paid him 125, he might come. He'd probably come for 125 and to be your mate. Then all of a sudden, Liam Delap is on 125 grand a week and people are going, what?
Yeah. Well, Matt Sumner in the comments.
It's hard, isn't it?
Sandro Ramirez.
But it was because he got him for 5 million when really he was 50. He should have been 15 million. They had the clause.
Well, we got him for 5 million quid and his wages.
Paid him
we were like, we need this player. And the next minute, you're giving him silly amounts of money.
Emma, it is a genuine picture, but obviously...
It's not the one you was on about, was it?
A couple of...
Put the genuine one on the screen for us.
No, that's the one that's the thumbnail.
Okay, we'll just put it
I thought you replaced them with Dave and Sam.
But didn't you say there was a different picture and it wasn't that one? That was
No, but just...
No, but that is a genuine... But this is the genuine picture. Obviously, it's been... It's definitely not that.
No, but they can't see that.
No, but I'm looking saying it's definitely not the referee.
No, it's not the referee. We would have been weird. Be more like a stag do. There we go.
They'll be on now.
There you go.
That's the genuine picture in Dusseldorf.
But there is another picture, and I don't know where it is.
I wanted you to get the picture with the couple. Because I felt that represented.
I did not get a picture of the couple.
No, I know. I'm saying, but
when that happened, I took about 10 strides to the left.
To not help me out.
To not help you out.
Yeah, but why weren't you trying to help me out?
Because it made me feel uncomfortable. I'll be honest. Very, very uncomfortable.
I wasn't doing anything. I was getting picked up. I was getting told, why am I married? Why have you got married? I'm like, hang on, why? Bad. There's the real picture, Emma, anyway. That is the genuine. No, it wasn't the couple, because the couple was a man and a woman. They were the other couple, the two fellas.
That we know of.
We didn't get a picture with the couple.
No, that'd be
that was
weird.
just quite a... They were just
That was a
literally
private conversation.
looking at my ring finger and
All
going, "Why
I
are you
heard
married?"
was this was the expression that she said, when we are finished, we will call you Wunderbaz.
Wunderbaz, yeah.
Wunderbaz.
Wunderbaz. They were very nice.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Of course they were, yeah.
I'm sure had I have been of that persuasion, I'd have had lots of fun with the We'd have had a Wunderbar time.
Do you have any keys for our bowl?
I'll be honest, right? I couldn't have gone anyway because we were getting on a train, weren't we?
James, I've just sent you the passer.
We were getting on a train to Dortmund.
Yeah.
It would have had to be very quick, menage a trois. And I'll be honest, I didn't have the time.
You had a good game that night.
He wasn't bad. He wasn't bad. Dusseldorf was good. Voltage, Rob Cross was back, says, I still want Vlahovic. Yeah, Vlahovic was offered to, sorry, but the stories were he's available for like 25, 26 million. I think if you got him and got him right, he'd be tremendous. But I am on the Omega train, I must admit.
Fair play.
Just for the potential, the pace he can dribble, 6'4" or something.
Who is he? Where does he play?
Strasbourg.
But everyone knows these things.
The Strasbourg striker. Well, he can play wide as well, but he's good. He's good. But we'll see. Matthew talking about, it's a lot of it should be, and a couple of people have said this, sort of performance-related pay. You've got to be playing and all that, but it's just, it won't come in, will it? Because there'll be no appetite. I mean, the club should be pushing for it, because obviously money and all that, but it's
no.
I'm sure the PFA would be like,
the players hold all the power because there simply aren't enough good players about, and that's the simple fact. And that's number one's created by the laziness of a lot of Premier League clubs, though, like we've just been talking about. The clubs are not willing to scour the earth and take chances on people, like we've just said. They're more prepared to say, we like that kid over there, we're gonna let him go over there to Germany or over there to Italy or over there to France, and then we'll have another look at him. And that's where Brighton booked the trend, because Brighton went, let's get that lad out of Ecuador right now, send him on loan to a club that we trust, that we deal with, and then in a year's time we'll bring him into the Premier League. We'll put him on the bench for a year, and then the following year he'll start, and then within 2 years he'll be a £100 million player, and then we'll start the process all again. But when they started all the process again, they went, no, actually we'll go and get the £30 million player now, and they're ready to play in the Premier League. It's still the same thing, but we're looking slightly a higher bar where we don't have to lose 2 years on that player going on loan. So Brighton have almost done it to themselves in many ways, but the urgency of buying these players now is so instantaneous. Everyone demands success, don't they?
Everyone.
If look at the Schmidt situation, right? We've had him for 2 seasons, and now we're talking about another loan. That means 3 years of his career at Everton will have been lost in many ways. But if he comes back in the 4th season, he's like, I'm a Premier League player and I'm going to score you double figures. And that's almost what happened with Dom in many ways. Just that he stayed at the club and came in and went bit by bit by bit by bit. But when you've got someone else at the football club doing the job, it makes it so much easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you're not seeing all that work that's going on in the background.
It does. Emma, not just a gay icon, apparently, because obviously it was a couple. Man and mum, so there you go.
Swingers icon,
maybe. Who knows? Keys
and a ball.
Yeah. Danny says the Strasbourg striker does look good, only 22. He does look good. And Andrew says the Strasbourg lad makes much more sense than paying over the odds for the lap.
No, but that's not how football clubs work, is it? That's not how football clubs work.
But also, if they might say, well, 30 million.
I just found a picture of the German Steve Kelly.
Oh, the German Steve Kelly was class before but did he get off to Ziberland? It's one of them, isn't it? With it, they might say 30 million for a lad who's put the ball in the net in the Premier League and is 21 and a few clubs after him isn't overpaying.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like the last few, right? Sorry, there's more than the last few.
Yeah, there'll be loads.
There's bloody loads now. Trent Crimson.
Got a nice ghostly picture of you here with the European Cup in his cup.
Thanks.
It's not trying to take you home, though.
No, good. Steve P says Baz has never said anything about Borges signs from Norwich. She's the second leading goal scorer in the Championship. No, I haven't. I can't remember if I've spoken to him about him. But I had the same thing with Joel Perreault last year when he was mentioned with Everton. And was like, he's not quick enough. And he's done all right for Leeds, don't get me wrong, but we'll see next year in the Premier League with Leeds if he's good enough. But he just looks a little bit off the pace for the Premier League, but we'll see. Might come up and be good. Nathan says, send Timothy to Ipswich on loan and let's have the lap as part of the deal.
John keeps on saying.
It's John's, yeah. Ian says, Ped, that's why you're nearly on 100,000 subscribers. Rob says, sorry for your loss, Phil. Thoughts are with you from a Northern Irish Toffee. Send Timothy to Stuttgart on loan and get Nick Waltermead from there. That'll be a good bit of business. It's been mentioned with us a few times. I think James Alcott done something on Waltermead saying he'd be perfect for Everton. But I think Bayern are looking at him and a couple of other clubs. Benjamin says, in all fairness, we should have sent Timothy on loan straight away. The Brightons or the Brentfords buy players and they're sent on loan straight away. Well, he was kept because we didn't have any money and he was just a body, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Really, that's why he was kept. Mike says tickets for tomorrow's game are on various ticket and websites for £230 plus.
Well,
shocking when there's loads of fans who.
That's just scandalous from the people who are selling them, isn't it?
Yeah. Steve P says we had a good scouting system. It wouldn't be an issue because we can't afford to allow these players to go to other clubs in the hope that we could then go and get them because they'd be out of our reach by then. If you do the right scouting and the player has the right attributes, then it's not a huge lot. It's going to change within that time when he moves to another club, apart from being the price tag. Onana will have been at almost the same level when he was at Hamburg to when he was at Lille, but he cost 3 times as much. It's being able to make that thing, though.
I just found a picture of you being basically told that they want to take you back home. Tremendous. We're going to get that on the screen before we leave.
Thank you. I reckon we've had more players return to us than any other club. A fact I actually like, says Barry. Okay. Fair play. Voltage says Souček in midfield. Do you like Souček?
I can see Souček being an Everton player.
Can you?
Yeah, I can. He's just a Moyes player. He's just an absolute Moyes player. And whether you all like it or not, it's happening.
He'd get goals, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Voltage says he'd be class in midfield. Yeah. Jester says if the laps...
Just put it off. Just don't say anything and just put it on the screen.
I've never seen that picture. Leave it on the screen. I've never seen that picture.
Oh my God.
I can't believe Silla. Look at John Blaine. John Blaine's by me going, hang on. There's the couple in the background.
Oh my God.
John Blaine's there going, hang on.
Oh my God. It's just absolutely amazing. These are all on. If you go on our Instagram, there's a saved little thing there, and they're all on there.
Are they? Yeah. Why?
Because why not? Look at this one.
I don't think you should put stuff. I mean, that's tremendous. I'm not sure you should put stuff like that up.
This stuff's been on there for it's like 6 years. There's a video of you while they're playing You'll Never Walk Alone.
Oh my God.
And you can.
No, terrifying.
Honestly, 24th of February 2019. It's on there. It's one of our little saved things on Instagram. So we'll go over. If you're not following us on Instagram, you really should do because there's stuff like that on there. There's.
I don't understand why you're not following us, but again, lazy. Just feels lazy. Oh, what a place!
For that one, James.
What a place!
That's cool.
Isn't it? That's what Everton should have outside. That's the souvenir shop.
Tom Riddle says 95 tickets for the last game are around £1,500 on Southern
Again,
website.
who's selling them?
It's a disgrace.
Don't ask me what Cilla Black was doing there, by the way. I have no idea.
Cilla was just there.
Yeah.
She was loving it. No, definitely not considering Emma thinking, these are big. I don't know how I basically...
See how far away I was when I took that picture? That's probably on Zoom.
What's
as
good
well.
is it's good the way you can rely on people to help you out in times.
Help you out? Look, leaving you alone. Hang on. Whoa. Hang on. Let's move on to the taxis outside. Who helped with that?
What do you mean? No, who helped yourself get in a taxi? Yeah, you were doing it for me. You weren't putting me in a taxi. You wanted one for yourself as
You
well.
were too busy with the lads from Carlisle who've been brought up in Carlisle,
I was bollocking him. I was bollocking one of them, weren't I? Because he's a red. The other one was a Spurs fan, weren't he? I'm saying you're better than him. They were good lads, then.
That was Dortmund. That was Dusseldorf, which is a great place to go and watch football.
Tremendous place.
Even though they're not in the top league now, but it's a great place. Honestly.
Steve, Gerald, Daniel, they all knew.
If you can get a weekend where Dusseldorf is at home and Dortmund are at home, you can basically just fly into Dusseldorf, go to match, leave your bag in a bag thing place, get on the train, get on the right train. We didn't. And then go to Dortmund, stay in Dortmund on the Saturday night, then go to the Dortmund game on the Sunday.
And buy your ticket before you get on the train.
Yeah, buy your ticket before you get on the train. And make sure you get on the right train.
And if the German guards get on, don't look at your feet like that. Because it doesn't help. It
helped me.
It helped you. Yeah, it didn't help.
No, but I think I got us off with it. Because they went like that. I went like that and just sat there and you were like, caring for him.
No, I didn't. I was too busy going.
They were your words.
Oh my God.
Is he caring for him, you said?
Oh my God. Help me. That was my
How do people not know what they're dressed as? James didn't know what they were dressed as, did he?
It's mad, isn't it?
It's terrifying. Education system in this country.
Don't even say system.
Exactly.
That's how shocking.
The system I've come through doesn't allow me to say system. Anyway.
Very interesting times, but it was a great weekend.
Yeah.
Well, for like 4 days, wasn't it? It was really good. It was really good for the Togger. Get yourself over there and watch it. It's good. Mm-hmm. It is very good. Right. Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
Right, we're done. All right, people. Do a little subscription thing, do we?
Yeah, what are we on there on the screen? 277 would be nice. Would be nice if you could get us to 300.
Lazy.
Do you know what I mean? Lazy people. All this entertainment.
You just ask and they just don't do it, so fair play.
All this entertainment we provide.
Get over to the Chadwick interview on Inside the Game as well. Leave some comments underneath. Just say, nice interview. Keep the algorithm going. Go and do that now. That's your homework for today. Make sure you check out Ped's starting 11 and also check out the match preview. And come on, Everton. The last ever 3 o'clock at Goodison on a Saturday. Let's go out with a bang and batter them.
Yeah.
Do it. See you later.